Good morning, everybody. You are tuned in once again to Crackcore. Here we go again. We've got another subject, another meaty subject to get into today. So today we're talking about Carpe Diem and Memento Mori, because I feel like it's something that needs looking at, all right? But before we get into it, it's tip of the day. Right, so tip of the day. My tip of the day for you today is, if you are a driver, okay, and you own a car, take a little pad of paper and a pen and put it in your glove box, because you never ever know when you are going to need it, okay? It's brilliant. You can thank me later. You probably will, okay? Right then, so that's the tip of the day. Done. Carpe Diem. Now then, back in the day, back in there, you know, we're looking at what, 10 years ago? Hold on a minute. For context, it's Wednesday the 24th of March 2021. So about 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, people were still getting Carpe Diem tattooed on them, weren't they? I mean, how times can change. How times can change, eh? Because Carpe Diem, I believe it's Latin for seize the day. I mean, not many people doing that now, is there? So nowadays, people seem to be more, quite the opposite. They're not seizing the day whatsoever, are they? As a matter of fact, they're stagnating and staying at home and all of that malarkey. But I knew one guy that had Memento Mori tattooed on him, and everybody got on at him for it and said that he was morbid, okay? It literally means remember death. And the whole thing goes, remember death so that you may live. And what that means is, just remember that one day you're going to die, okay? And life will be done. And if you remember that, it's actually a very, very positive thing, because it reminds you that since one day you're actually going to die and you will cease to exist, that you ought to live now whilst you've got the chance, okay? So Memento Mori, remember death, is an extremely positive mindset, okay? And I remember this guy getting that tattooed on him, on his hand, and he explained what it meant to somebody else while I was in the room, and I thought, that's fucking fantastic. And since that day, I've never ever forgotten, all right? And since that day, I've seized the day. So, I mean, there's a few examples here, because it seems to me that nowadays, with what's going on, given the context of the date that I gave earlier, people are afraid to live, because they're so afraid that one day they may die. They're forgetting that they actually need to live. They're robbing themselves of a life because they're afraid of death. Now, it seems to be very, very opposite to the way that people should literally be living their lives. But let's just look at it, all right? Let's just look at some points here. I mean, if you're afraid of cereal, do you stop going to the supermarket? So let's just say you walk into a supermarket, yeah? You see the Rice Krispies and you go, ah! Just don't go down the cereal aisle. Fucking hell. A little bit over the top there, perhaps, but you get the point. Let's just say, I don't know, You're afraid that you're going to step in dog poo one day. Do you stop wearing trainers? Most certainly not. I'm going to have to go out on a limb here and say, probably not, okay? You'll probably wear your trainers anyway. But, oh, and there's another one. If you are afraid of, say, I don't know, being hit by a car, does this mean that, number one, you don't leave the house? Well, I might have to go out on another limb here. No, it most certainly means you do not stop going out the house. And also, do you stop driving in the fear of another car hitting your car? Oh, I don't think so, okay? I don't think so. The very point is, people are obviously, nobody wants to get hit by a car, but the very fact that people are still out in their car is the very reason why cars, you know, people have accidents in cars. Because they're out in them anyway. All right? So, why on earth, okay, are people not living their lives through the fear of something that is proven, okay, by the numbers that have been given to you by this bloke, Chris Whitty, that, I mean, to be honest, I don't necessarily, if he told me something and he wasn't known as this, you know, employed as this fucking health bloke, I wouldn't trust him. I'd think he was trying to get close to me so he could do something to my kids. I mean, not that I've got any children, but you know what I mean. I mean, fucking hell. Have you seen this guy? He looks like that bloke from The Simpsons. You know what I mean? Smithers. Fucking hell. People that look like that, I'm sorry, right? But it's okay, I've got 4 limbs. I can go out on another limb here and say, people that look like that aren't necessarily trustworthy, all right? It's a rule of thumb. So, why on earth are people fucking... Anyway, but from that bloke anyway, from that bloke who's this health geezer of the UK, he says this thing isn't really all that bad. You know, this was way back when it was at its peak, okay? In the year 2020, all them years ago. It seems like such a long time ago, doesn't it? God, we've been run through the mill, haven't we? We've been dragged through the fucking hedge backwards since then. Fucking hell, haven't the people been absolutely buggered? But this is my point, yeah? He said that this thing isn't all that bad. He gave you the numbers. He gave you the percentages of people that were going to live and die. And let's just say, less than 5%. I'm not going to give exact numbers because this video will get banned for medical misinformation like the last one that I did. Fucking idiots. Fucking YouTube. Talk about fascists. Anyway. It was less than 5%. A lot less than 5% of people will actually die, okay? Remember, the people that die are a very small percentage of the already small percentage that will even get severe symptoms, and they're an even smaller percentage of those that even get symptoms in the first place, which is a small percentage. So why are people at this point not living their lives, okay, because they're afraid of something that, by the very percentages given to them by the British government, seems not to be you know, worthy of that kind of fear. In my opinion, that is utter madness. Okay, that is, it's hypocrisy. Okay. Jesus wept. I mean, fucking hell. So anyway, you know, I've got a friend, all right, and this is my final point, okay? Perfect. I've got a friend who is dying of cancer. Okay, now this man is an absolute... I mean, there isn't words to explain the greatness of this human being, all right? I try and explain. and I can't. I try and come up with the words, and I can't. Because this guy, right, is out there living his life. He's been diagnosed with aggressive cancer. God knows what stage he's on, because he doesn't talk about it. You know what? He lives his life to the absolute fullest. Okay? He's not taking surgeries. Okay? He's not doing any of these things that the doctors have recommended, like, you know, all of these procedures that they want you to do that end up shriveling you up like a prune. No. He's refused that, and he said, basically, if this is what's going to take me, then it's going to take me. But in the literal sense of Memento Mori and Carpe Diem, he's out there living his life, okay, and enjoying it. Not only that, he spends his time, okay, trying to fill other people with positivity and trying to do right by other people, regardless of his own situation. You know, most people would be sat on their fucking arses, yeah, listening to these quacks that are telling them to go and do all of these things, you know, radiation therapies and all of this that end up fucking killing you worse. Crying and snivelling into a fucking tissue, okay, getting everybody to put the fucking arm around them saying everything's going to be all right, mush, when it's really fucking not. All right? Basically draining everybody else's energy and leaving behind a legacy of weakness. Most people would be doing that. All right? Just like what's going on in the world right now. Most people are sitting around doing fuck all. Going, oh my God, yeah. I might get the fucking sniffles. I best wear a supermarket mask. You know what? People ought to fucking take a note of this bloke. I'm not going to name him for the sake of the video because it's private. But this geezer, all right, is an absolute fucking example to the rest of the world. All right? Because he's holding the world, the weight of the world on his shoulders. And he is trying to make other people's lives better. I mean, there it is. You know, examples made. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say from this point on. There we go. I'm speechless. This guy's an absolute legend, and he's an example to the world, and people really ought to give their heads a shake. Because if this person, okay, can live their life in such a way with that amount of positivity, all right, against all odds, then the rest of the world needs to fucking take a reality check, all right, and stop being whiny about all of this. Stop fucking being weak and miserable and fucking sitting around, being scared to leave the fucking house, jumping across the pavement when somebody's walking towards them. It's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. You know what? It pisses me off when you tell people, okay, about actual facts and they don't want to hear it. No, they don't want to hear the fucker. They think you're mad. When in truth, they've got cognitive dissonance and they don't want to have to listen to it. They don't want to have to accept that one day they might be proven wrong. So they'll do everything to try and prove that they're in the right for being scared. So they don't have to look a cunt at the end of it. Excuse my language. There's lots of people that don't like that word, but situation depending, it can be used in the right ways, can't it? Just like just now, letting myself off the hook there. All right? They're too afraid to be proven wrong. Nobody wants to be like, oh yeah, shit. I was wrong for being scared. Just own up. Just go, look, I've been a twat, man. You know, I was scared. It's okay. But just remember, there's people out there. Okay? There is people out there that are suffering and that have actually got an end date. You know? And they're out there living their lives to the fullest and trying to give positivity to others. You know, in the process. Now, live by that example. Because the world is suffering all right? Because of people's fear. I get it. Fear is a crippling emotion, but you've got to get over it, you know? You've got to get over it. Stop listening to the media. Lesson number 1, stop listening to the media. They're bought and paid for. Right, this is Cragcore. I'm signing off. I've made my point. All right? I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Thank you for watching the video. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It makes an awful lot of difference. And if you've got any thoughts and opinions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I would absolutely love to hear what you've got to say. All right, well, this is Cragcore signing off. Love and peace to all things everywhere. You know how we get down.